Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Building for the future. Dan Gilbert talking business and his big plans for Detroit.
Thanks for joining us on this noon. Well, it's no secret the founder and chairman of Rocket Companies has had a huge impact on Motor City's growth in the recent years.
Absolutely transformational, that's for sure. And based on what he is saying today, slowing down is not on the agenda, let's just say. Let's get to Rod Maloney. He caught up with the entrepreneur over breakfast. And Rod, it's clear Dan Gilbert is all in on Detroit.
Well, he always has been, really, and he's really put his money, a $20 billion fortune, behind all of that, put it where his mouth is. And so he was here today, and, you know, when they put the tickets on sale for the Detroit Free Press breakfast club, they call it, tickets sold out, like, immediately, because most everybody in Metro Detroit wants to hear what Dan Gilbert has to say. So we'll show you some video, and this is him being brought in. Dan Gilbert, still suffering signs from his stroke, was brought in as he is in a wheelchair, but he was able to get himself into a chair, and he spoke for the better part of an hour. Mind certainly sharp, and he is quite happy to have these conversations. He's a very jovial guy, likes to joke around a lot. And, you know, he's talked about the fact that he wants to remake Detroit in his own image, but it's not really his image as much as it's the image that the millennial worker wants to have. He says young people want vibrant, happening cities, so he's trying to make that happen here in the city of Detroit. Firmly believes in big events like, say, the NFL draft coming up in April, wants another Super Bowl here, says all of these things help remake the city's image nationally. He wants New York or Chicago-style mass transit. That may have been the big thing he talked about. And he says that the changes he has set in motion here are well on their way.
We keep going on the roads we're going now. We keep recruiting retailers, office building tenants, people to live here. We talked about the kids. There's thousands and thousands of college kids that come out now and stay in Detroit. I see that happening. That'll change everything. The region works better together as we attract more events. Mass transportation gets put in place.
So he's basically saying there that what we've got going is a good thing, but we need to keep working as a community, a regional community, to try and make Detroit a better place and make Metro Detroit the place that other people want to move to. In fact, he said one of his big things is attracting talent instead of losing talent to Chicago and New York like so many from Michigan State and Michigan do move to. He said we want them coming here and staying here. He says a lot more to do, and he's certainly on top of that. We have more on this coming up, though, on Local 4 News at 5. So for now, reporting live from Birmingham, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
All right.
Love to hear those big plans.
We certainly do, and we're certainly seeing it happen right before our eyes. Thank you, Rod. It is a somber day for the community of Oxford. Today marks 2 years since Hannah St. Juliana, Tate Meir, Justin Schilling, and Madison Baldwin were killed when their classmate opened fire at Oxford High School.
At 7 o'clock tonight, there will be a candlelit vigil remembering the victims. But students who were there the day of the shooting, they're still asking for change and spoke out earlier this week at a board meeting.
How are you going to sit here and tell me with a straight face that I went through a school shooting because of your negligence?
After the long-awaited third-party investigation into the Oxford shooting, students who were in school on November 30th, 2021, got confirmation that their administration had failed them.
On November 30th at approximately 12:51 p.m., I lost my innocence because each and every one of you has failed us. You failed us, the children you were supposed to protect, and you have proved time and time again that you will continue to fail us. You failed when you brought in not Dr. Henry, when you shut down counseling services not even 6 months after the tragedy had occurred. You hired counselors who are more focused on our grades than our overall mental health and well-being.
The report laid out 5 specific ways then Superintendent Tim Throne and his leadership had failed. While Tim Throne is no longer with the Oxford School District, many who were involved that day still have their jobs.
Each year, all of us hope for you to get over yourselves and admit to your wrongdoings and the fact that you are all so childish to the point where you can't even admit that you messed up and have ruined our lives bit by bit.
If you want to protect us, resign. If you want us to heal, resign. If you love us, resign.
Students will not be in school today to mark the anniversary of the tragedy when they lost 4 classmates.
728 days since hundreds of children's lives were changed forever. 728 days since you failed to perform your duty, failed your responsibility, failed your expected function, and failed to follow or implement policies and procedures to protect your children.
I'm Kim DeGiulio, Local 4.
The community will share a moment of silence at 12:51, so just about 15 minutes from now. And that was the time that the first shot was fired. Emotions will certainly be running high next week as well, as the Oxford school shooter sentencing will begin on Friday, December 8th.
The personal information of more than 1 million Michigan residents gets leaked in a massive cyber attack. The breach went undetected for over 2 months and is impacting Priority Health members and Corewell Health patients. We're told that the stolen information ranges from names, addresses, and medical diagnoses to health insurance information and social security numbers. If you have received care at Corewell Health, it is recommended that you monitor your credit for the next few months. You can also call this number, 800-628-2141, with any questions or concerns.
Today, Detroit police need your help finding the driver of this black Cadillac DTS involved in a triple hit and run. We're told it should have front end damage. You can see the vehicle there on your screen. The hit and run happened last Saturday near Schoolcraft and Rutland. 3 women were crossing the street when they were hit. At last check, 2 of the women were in critical condition. The third is now listed as stable.
Noted Pastor Charles Adams has died, known not just here in Detroit as a decades-long pastor, but also nationally. Reverend Adams was the pastor emeritus of Detroit's historic Hartford Memorial Baptist Church. Adams reportedly died on Wednesday afternoon, surrounded by his family. His sister saying that he'd been going through a long bout with pneumonia and cardiac arrest. Reverend Adams was born here in Detroit. He became pastor at Hartford all the way back in 1967. He retired from the church back in 2019, his son taking over leadership there. He was 86 years old.
Well, if you can get away from light pollution and find some clear night skies, you could be in for quite the sight, because there's a strong chance that the northern lights could be on display.
Yes, but all of that seems very questionable with the weather forecast right now. But here's what's happening. A G3 geomagnetic storm has been predicted to hit Earth sometime tonight or tomorrow. A storm that strong means that we can see the aurora borealis right here in Metro Detroit, but the conditions have to be right weather-wise, and a clear sky is one of the main issues that you have to have.
I feel like it just never works out, right? Like, you need the clear skies or you can't see them.
Yes, but Ashley says there is hope. If we don't get it this time around, we will in the future. Near future, right?
Right, because we're reaching this solar maximum. So really over the next year, we're probably going to have more activity when it comes to the aurora borealis. So if you miss it this time, don't worry too much. But northern lights forecast. Let's talk about tonight going into tomorrow. So tonight right now is still forecasting as a G1 geomagnetic storm, which would put this more in a minor level. But going into tomorrow night, the KP index is forecasted to be strong. That's a 7. And when that happens, you see how the viewing goes all the way down past lower Michigan, in fact, closer to the Chicagoland area. Unfortunately, here also in Chicago, as we head into the next couple nights, we're going to have cloudy skies. So we're probably not going to have the best viewing opportunity here just because of the cloud cover, and that's also going to come with precipitation. But too bad it wasn't happening right now and it was nighttime, because we would see it. The skies have been clear so far today, giving us some sunshine. We already sit at 47 degrees in Detroit. Howell 44, Pontiac 42, Monroe 49, but sustained winds right now 10 to 15 miles per hour, and they will gust upward of that. We are now double digits as far as the swing upward in temperatures, and winds are already gusting upward of 20 miles per hour. So looking at your forecast for the rest of the afternoon, we are going to hover in the 40s, and we'll be flirting with 50, but we'll talk about a rain-snow mix tomorrow in just a few minutes.